What's going on, guys? It's Clutch Hoops here, and today we're going to be talking about Lamelo Ball as a draft prospect, but more importantly, getting into what major sports outlets don't want to admit about Lamelo Ball. Lamelo has been in the media his entire life, ever since he skipped 8th grade to play at Chino Hills with his brothers Lamelo and Lonzo. He was the most talked about basketball player for a while, and his whole family became worldwide sensations. With all that said, Lamelo has had to go through a lot in his life when it came to basketball, as he left Chino Hills before his junior year to play professionally in Lithuania in a league that was basically a joke. Then he played for his dad's league, the JBA. Then he went to Spire Academy in Ohio, and finally he went to Australia to play for the Illawarra Hawks. His past 2 years have been a roller coaster with no direction or coaching, so he's had to constantly adapt to new situations and lead his team. This season with the Illawarra Hawks, Lamelo had a bit of trouble adapting to the team, as in his first couple games he struggled with his shooting and finishing around taller, more physical defenders. As the games continued and Lamelo began to get a better feel for the game in Australia, he really began to excel, as he averaged 24 points and 9 assists in his final 4 games on 43% from the field. In these games, Lamelo played about 34 minutes per game, and they went 2-2 as a team, which is much better than their overall record of 3-21 before the final 4 games of Lamelo Ball. These final games weren't flukes either, because Karen Typins, who they beat twice, are the 3rd best team in the NBL, and the Sydney Kings, who they were tight with until the end of the game until they lost by 5 points, are the best team in the entire NBL. Some of the questions about Lamelo right now are that he can't lead a winning team, which is just not true.
Is he a winner? You know what I mean? He hasn't played in situations, frankly, where he's been asked to win.
Lamelo only played 12 games for the Hawks, and without Lamelo, the Hawks went 2-14. With Lamelo, the Hawks went 3-9, and in Lamelo's final 4 games against great opponents, the Hawks went 2-2. On top of this, people around the NBA say they don't trust Lamelo to take the keys to their franchise because of what all the attention around him will do to their team culture, how strong his work ethic is, and whether Lamelo Ball will become a factor. To begin, at the start of the season, the Hawks coach Matt Flynn said that he had already exceeded expectations with the Hawks. He comes with no baggage, that his teammates genuinely like having him around, and more importantly, that he heard that this is the happiest Lamelo has seemed in a while. To continue, since Lamelo was preparing for the NBA draft playing in Australia, there was some speculation that he would leave to prepare in the US mid-season, but Matt Flynn came back and said that he's buying in like any other player and that he's really invested in the locker room and connecting with his teammates. Obviously, the Hawks coach probably wouldn't say anything different if he was asked a question like this, but the fact that he's giving specific evidence that sounds true makes it pretty certain that he is speaking the truth. Lamelo did end up leaving Australia after he got injured to prepare for the NBA draft in the United States, which his teammates were kind of upset with but understood at the same time. The team was 5-23, and as much as you'd want Lamelo to stay, it's not like watching the final 3 games mattered too much. The culture around him and his teammates his entire life has seemed like a brotherhood, playing at Chino Hills and then Spire Academy, and the only tiny issue of him as a teammate at Spire Academy was the fact that he didn't throw a punch during a brawl. Like, how hard are these people going to critique him? Next, there are some questions about his work ethic and if he will maximize his potential, because he has/will have large sums of money his entire life. This is kind of absurd because Lamelo escaped his dad to play in Australia to focus solely on basketball, and Mike Schmitz, who spent a lot of time in Australia with Lamelo, got the vibe that Lamelo was kind of getting tired of all the cameras around him.
I get the feel that he's done with the cameras. Like, he's sick of this.
Lamelo has been around cameras his entire life, but because of his basketball skills and his family's love for the game of basketball. Lamelo's entire life revolves around the game of basketball, and he would be playing it as much as he could his entire childhood. Saying he has a poor work ethic is kind of absurd, and whoever says this is basically making a blind assumption. Finally, once again, these NBA execs are still scared about the affiliation of Lamelo Ball with whatever team Lamelo is drafted to. Lamelo Ball has kind of gone extinct, and ever since Lonzo got moved to the Pelicans, he has not been a problem. Also, Lamelo distanced himself from LeVar as he literally left the country to play basketball, where people around him say that he seems the happiest he has ever been. Coincidence? I don't know. Also, Lamelo is not affiliated with the relaunch of the Big Baller brand, as he tweeted on the same day of the relaunch, "I'm my own man." Lamelo is not featured on the website at all and consists of the 2 favorite Ball members, LeVar and Lamelo. As much as we slander LeVar Ball though, the reason Lamelo is such a talented prospect in this draft may be because of the way LeVar raised him as a basketball player. LaMelo never grew up with a true coach or disciplinary figure on the court, and LeVar basically let LaMelo do whatever he wanted. LaMelo was able to experiment through his entire childhood and develop some of the most unique passing skill sets we have ever seen out of an 18-year-old. His unique creativity and playmaking is the reason he's being looked at as a top prospect in this draft, which was facilitated by LeVar. People hate on LeVar for the play style of his AAU teams and the way he raised his kids, but in all reality, it led to LaMelo creating some skills that will make him a top 5 pick in the upcoming NBA draft. There weren't only good habits that came out of this freelance basketball, as LaMelo still has terrible shot selection and plays with very little effort on the defensive side of the ball. The good thing about these weaknesses are that with good coaching and player development, they can easily be fixed. LaMelo is a 6'7" point guard with a growing figure who has all the tools to be a great defender in the NBA. His physical tools will allow his shooting, passing, and playmaking to translate to the NBA very well. The only concern about his figure is with his strength, but he's continually gotten stronger each year, and this will not be an issue in the NBA. LaMelo is one of the youngest prospects in the draft, as he is still 18 years old and has already averaged 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists in the NBL. This would not be possible without his background, and most importantly, the way he was raised by Lamelo Ball. The media hates on LeVar, and for good reasons, because he's kind of a loose cannon, but the way he has allowed LaMelo to create his own game is so new-schooled. Everyone is taught the same fundamentals at a very young age, but LeVar did it a whole different way and helped create a very unique player about to take the NBA by storm. Coming to the EOR Hawks, LaMelo didn't even know what the 3-man weave was. That's how unorthodox LeVar's coaching was. Lamelo Ball has been so publicized that people hold him to a different standard, which is why these concerns about his effort, team culture, and his dad are laughable. No one really wants to admit that LaMelo benefited from a freelance game of basketball, and once people finally begin to see this, youth basketball may be changed forever. Tell me what you guys thought about this video and what you guys think of LaMelo Ball as a prospect. Also, tell me if you want an in-depth review as LaMelo as a draft prospect with strengths, weaknesses, and how his game will translate to the next level. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, and now I'm out, and peace!